Call the meeting to order. Will everybody please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have the town clerk's report, approval of minutes, and approval of bills.
So I have the approval of the March Town Clerk's report.
I'll make a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I have the approval of the March 16th Town Board minutes.
I'll make that motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I have the approval to pay general bills number 19996 through 20032. Highway bills number 20033 through 20039, and water bills 3192 through 3196.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have our public hearing in regards to the cannabis law that's still open. Warren, would you like to take it from there?
Sure. Well, the first thing is, we can take any comment from the public if anybody wants to talk.
Are there any public comments? Go ahead, just state your name, please.
Rachel Greenfield Minkoff. It's been a few months since I've heard an update on the central septic system.
Okay,
So we're talking about the marijuana dispensary right now. It's
Oh, I
oh,
thought
yeah,
it was public
yeah,
comment.
not yet. No comments about the
No
marijuana.
comment.
Okay.
Nothing.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
None?
So I think we can close the public hearing.
I want so moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I prepared a resolution for you to adopt, but first we have to finish the seeker review. So there is a part 2 of the full environmental assessment form, it's a type 1 action. But the town is the only involved agency in this action. And we've asked our planning consultants to the planning to prepare the part 2. Assuming you have it on there. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So I'll just go through this quickly. I don't think it's going to be terribly controversial.
Matt,
We have to.
do a little bit. Oh, other way. No.
So
for that-
they-
for
yeah.
that, all right.
I was like, don't you have it done? Yes, I did.
We already approved the part 1 of the full environmental assessment form. And now we have to go through part 2 and answer questions as to whether there are any impacts or significant impacts as a result of the passage of this law. BFJ has taken the liberty of answering all of these questions, so I'm just going to go through it quickly. If you disagree with what they have proposed, and I concur with their proposal, just let me know. So the first question is whether the proposed action may involve have an impact on land. Where the proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface or the proposed site. There is no proposed site, so we've answered that in the negative, no. The second is the proposed action, will it have any impact on geological features? Again, there is no site-specific proposed action, it's just a passage of a local law regulating retail marijuana dispensaries. So we've answered that question in the negative, no, it will not have any impact. Third question is whether the project will have an impact on surface water. Same response, nothing project specific, so we answer that in the negative, it will not have any impact on surface water. The next, will the action, this is number 4, action have any impact on groundwater? Again, not site specific, so we answer that in the negative, that it will not have any impact on groundwater. Number 5 is, will it a proposed action have an impact on flooding? Again, same response, we answer that in the negative because it's not a site specific project. 6, impacts on air, will the proposed project have any impact on a state regulated air emission source? The answer to that is no. 7, impact on plants and animals. Will the proposed action may result in a loss of flora or fauna? No, again, not not a site-specific action. The next is impact on agricultural resources. Again, same response. We answered that in the negative. It will not have any impact on agricultural resources. Next, impact on aesthetic resources. Again, proposed action will not have any impact on aesthetic resources. 10, will the proposed action have any impact on historic and archaeological resources? We answer that in the negative. 11, will the proposed action create any impact on open space and recreation? Same response, we answered that no. 12, will the proposed action have any impact on critical environmental areas? The answer to that is no. 13, will the proposed action have any impact on transportation? We've answered that no. 14, will the proposed action have any impact on energy? May cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. The proposed answer is no. 15, will the proposed action have any impact on noise, odor, and light? The answer to that is no. 16, will the proposed action have any impact on human health? We've answered that in the negative. 17, is the proposed action consistent with community plans? And it's actually, that should be, proposed action is consistent with community plans.
You can't say yes.
That incorrectly. So we're changing that one to yes, because we have changed our zoning law. We are changing our zoning law in accordance with our comprehensive plan, and we don't feel that it's inconsistent with that. 18 is the proposed action consistent with community character. Again, we've answered that in the negative. So that answers all of the questions in the part 2 environmental assessment form. And if that's all acceptable to you, we can go to part 3, which is the negative declaration. Let me see what he put here. BFJ has indicated in the part 3. The proposed action defines a cannabis retail dispensary and permits it as a special permit use in the Hamlet business and Hamlet Main Street districts. Actually, we amended that to include the light industrial district. Cannabis retail dispensaries are licensed by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management. Sell cannabis and cannabis products to adults 21 years and older. There will be no on-site consumption of cannabis products. As a result of this local law, that will not be permitted. The proposed zoning text would establish a minimum distance between dispensaries and schools, houses of worship, and other cannabis retail dispensaries, also parks. It also regulates the permitted hours of operation and the view of cannabis plants and products from the public sidewalks and streets, and secure disposal, ventilation, and building security, among the other issues. And again, we've already gone over the part 2 of the EAF. So we have concluded on behalf of the board, subject to your approval, that this project will not result in any significant impacts on the environment, and therefore an environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Can I get a vote on that?
I would move that we declare a negative declaration.
I second that. All in favor? Aye.
Okay. And that leads us then to the resolution adopting the local law. Right, you can read that.
I think that one would prefer you to
Like to read it?
I can read it. All right. Whereas on March 31st, 2021, the New York State enacted the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act legalizing adult use cannabis, also known as marijuana or recreational marijuana. In New York, the legislation created a new Office of Cannabis Management, the OCM, governed by Cannabis Control Board to oversee and implement the law. The OCM will issue licenses and develop regulations outlining how and when businesses can participate in the industry. The OCM will oversee the state's medical marijuana program and cannabinoid program currently regulated by the Department of Health. The New York State law provided the towns can opt out of allowing adult use cannabis retain dispensaries or on-site consumption facilities within their jurisdictions pursuant to local law passed by December 1st, 2021. The town of Pine Plains did not exercise its authority to opt out of the retained dispensaries within its jurisdiction, and accordingly, the cannabis retained dispensaries may be licensed and cited in Pine Plains by the OCM. And whereas the town board directed its consulting planner, BFJ Planning, to draft a proposed amendments to the town regulating adult use cannabis retained establishments within the town of Pine Plains. And whereas the said law has been prepared and reviewed by the attorney of the town, who has included certain changes to the draft law. And whereas the town board has determined that this is a type 1 action under SEQR, and that there is no other involvement agencies in the town shall act as the lead agency to review this action and approve the appropriate documentation and analyze. And whereas the town attorney has converted the draft provided by the town consultant into a proposed local law, a copy of which has been submitted to the town board and reviewed and deemed acceptable for purposes of commencing the local law adoption process. And whereas the town board reviewed part 1 of the full EAF and has approved and adopted the same. And whereas the town board scheduled a public hearing on local law for December 15th, 2022 at 7:10 p.m. at the Town of Pine Plains Town Hall, and continued the public hearing until January 19th, 2023, February 6th, 2023, March 16th, 2023, and April 20th of 2023. And whereas the town board duly referred the said local law to the Town of Pine Plains Planning Board for its review and comment in accordance to the provisions of the town code and to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development in ordinance with the provisions of section 239M of general municipal law. And whereas the planning board recommended certain minor changes to the local law, whereas the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development advised that this was a matter of local concern, but made certain suggestions for minor changes to the law. And whereas the town board, upon the advice of its attorney and its planning consultants, had modified the said local law in certain respects in response to those comments. And whereas the town board closed the public hearing on April 20th, 2023, and reviewed parts 2 and 3 of the full environmental assessment form as prepared by its consultant planners. And whereas the town board determined that this action does not have potential for any significant environmental impacts, and that it is, as a result, a draft environmental impact statement does not need not be prepared. Whereas the town board has determined that the passage of the local law will be in its best interest of the town of Pine Plains and its citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts local law 1 of the year of 2023 titled "A Local Law Amending Certain Portions of Chapter 275 to Regulate Cannabis Retail Dispensaries Within the Town of Pine Plains." And be it further that resolved, the town board directs the town clerk to file said copy of local law with the Department of State as required by law. And be it further resolved, the town board here directs the town clerk to send a copy of a negative secret declaration to the Department of Environmental Conservation with a copy of the resolution for purposes of filing the negative declaration in DEC's environmental notice bulletin. The question of the adoption for the resolution was duly put to a roll call vote on April 20th, 2023, which results as supervised.
1 second.
Yep.
2 typos, which I'll change. The first paragraph, the word retain should be
Retail.
retail. And send that to you, and I plugged in local law number 1. And I'm going to add to the resolution that we should send a copy of this to the Office of Cannabis Management.
Okay.
So that they're aware that we passed this law. So I will add that to the resolution orally and then give you a written copy. And then we're all done with the project. And just so you understand, The next step would be someone will have to obtain a license from New York State and the Cannabis Management for a retail dispensary before coming to the town board, and then would have to apply to coming for the planning board, would then have to apply to the planning board for special permit site plan approval. So whatever facility seeks to open in the town would be scrutinized under those standards that are code.
We needed the roll call vote.
Yeah. Right, local.
All right, Supervisor Walsh,
Yeah.
Councilman Ambrose,
Yay.
Councilman Bartles,
Okay.
Councilman Zick.
Yay.
Well done.
It's started like 2.5 years.
And they aren't any closer either. so-
I know, we're nowhere closer. They don't have anything set, but that was like 2.5 years in the making.
Can I get a motion?
Volunteer firemen. Yeah.
Gonna open it right now.
Oh, okay.
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing in regards to the tax exemption for qualified volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers? I'll make that motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment in regards to this? Warren, do you want to touch
Sure.
base on this a little bit?
Basically, this is I'll take it from the resolution. Section 466A of the real property tax law provides for property tax exemption. Just recently been passed of up to 10% of the assessed value of real property for individuals who reside in the town of Pine Plains and meet certain qualifications concerning service in a fire department, fire company, or volunteer ambulance service. And I have drafted a proposed local law incorporating those provisions in section 466A into this local law, amending Article 235 of the Town Code, taxation to provide for that exemption. This is a type 2 action under seeker. It does not require environmental review. I thought we had scheduled a public hearing, but I guess tonight was the first public hearing.
Yes.
Okay, so we scheduled it for, we did, for April 20th, yes, and closed the public hearing on that night. And I've just determined in the resolution that I think this passages of this resolution would be in the best interest of the town and its citizens, and certainly would help and encourage the people who volunteer their time and services to this endeavors, help them somewhat on their taxes.
And it's only their primary residence, right? Like, so that's the major question that I got,
Yeah,
like.
You have
people
to
aren't, like,
reside,
they-
actually reside.
On that piece of property
That's
for them,
correct.
okay,
Right.
that was the major question that
That's
people were
correct.
asking me, and that's what I was.
And we'll work out a certification process after you pass the local law with the fire company and the ambulance service, but that doesn't have to be done now.
Are any public comments in regards to this? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I basically just read the resolution that I prepared, so it's just a matter of voting on that resolution.
Roll call.
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yeah.
Councilman Ambrose,
Yay.
Councilman Bartles,
Aye.
Councilman Zick.
Aye.
That's all I have for tonight.
That's it? Nothing else?
Nothing else.
Yes.
You can stay with us, or you leave?
No,
Oh, no.
I think we may need you later.
I'll stay, I'm just kidding.
Public comment.
Rachel Greenfield Bankoff. I just think it's been a couple of months since I've heard any update of the central sewer system. I've noted in the papers that Amenia and Millerton are both getting chunks of bucks to put in their own wastewater treatment center, which I think will be helping their downtown, and hoping that something has moved with Egan Bond or somebody, so that there's something moving, but I'd love an update if possible.
Do you want to touch base on this? You want me to?
You can.
All right, the last thing that we were notified of is Tinga Bomb was waiting for basically a contract before they would do any of the map work. They were waiting for a contract of purchase of that land for the property. The church, as of right now, is not interested in doing anything with that property. So right now, we do not have a designated location. So we can't get the maps made yet because we don't have that designated location. So that's where we are as far as a standstill, as far as that.
And are there, I mean, I know there were other locations that had been looked at in the past. Is this just sort of now dead in the water, or are there still explorations going on of locations?
Teagan Baum left it to only that one location for us in the,
For the size that we want.
yeah.
I think it would be good if we met with Tig and Bond just to to finalize that. And I also think there were some locations that were discounted because of the costs. And we have to have a sense of, in lieu of the not being able to get the church property, if it would be worthwhile to try to get something else. We just have to pipe it, more.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be worthwhile to have an update, a meeting with Ty and Bond. Because there may be other alternatives. I don't think the negotiations with the Archdiocese is totally dead. So there still may be some possibilities in that regard. But this is a good time to get grants for these types of projects. So if the project can be done, this is probably the time that we should try to push forward with it. So
The other property that we had looked at that was included in that is our second choice was the Chase property, which really wasn't large enough for any expansion. And it was slightly more expensive because it required a pumped system than the other one. I'd have to look in the my files to find out what the difference of the cost is. I really don't remember.
It
But
just looks like there's a lot of money out there now, as Warren said, so I would hope that people would move it.
Anybody else?
Yes,
Yes, go ahead. Just state your name.
Diane Wapnick, and I'm here representing the Little Lion Partners Historical Society. And I brought a guest, Val Robadier, who will read something about the a commemorative plaque that we would like to I guess present to the town. And
yeah, it's an event that we're, I have some things I can pass out to you.
we're having a round table in August that will be led by Sachem Hawkstorm and the Scotticoke First Nations. And we would like to present at that time this Scotticoke First Nations would like to present this plaque.
Yeah, we'll, it'd be similar to the event that we had last December, but we'd go into more detail about specifically about the settlement at Chicomico. And also we would want to have a proclamation by the town of Pine Plains honoring Shabash, who was the sachem of Chicomico in the 1740s. And he was later recognized as the sachem of the Mohicans. And also honoring the Moravian missionary Christian Henry Rausch. And recognizing that this is the traditional territory of the Mohican and Scotticoke indigenous peoples. And we would provide, I'm with the tribe, I'm the genealogist and also a member of the tribe, and I'm the town historian of the town of Dover. So I work already with Diane on several different projects countywide. And they've been working with us on this, just to honor the original history of the settlement at Chicomico. So we would provide you with all the documentation that you would need for that. And then we also wanted to, at the same time, to the tribe would present the town and the historical society with some sort of plaque, which we haven't decided yet exactly what it'll be, if it'll be a plaque or some other type of memorial for the settlement. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We were hoping that the town, the Pine Plains Free Library apparently has allowed us to book the 5th of August, right?
Yes,
And then we don't have an exact time for it yet, but what did you think? Two would be
p.m.
good, okay, and then, obviously, we would like town officials to be present, so we wanted to get it on your radar, pretty far ahead of time.
Sure, that's why,
Yes.
If you have any
Amanda, yes.
questions.
okay, so that's all right with Amanda, as long as the library says it's okay.
Yep. Anybody have any questions?
No, I think it's good.
Thank you very much.
Were you thinking, where were you thinking of this residing, the plaque or whatever?
That's why we have to go back and forth with it, because it'll depend on the nature of the plaque, where it
Okay.
should be. I mean, do you have any idea?
No, I was
where it
just-
would be a
just-
good Place,
Newtown
Either-
Hall.
new town hall.
In the new town hall possibly, but in the community center for the time, I think, rather.
Yeah.
Or here, but it would be something. No, I was just curious for your input on where you
Yeah.
were.
I mean, we don't have a place for it as
No.
far as the historical.
Well, that's, I
society.
really wouldn't, it would have been part of your history, but, there's not a good place where it would be visible. Only on certain occasions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any other public comment?
Hi, I'm Claire Gunning, the president of the Board of the Library Trustees. Just have a prepared statement. The library board would like to take a moment and thank Brian Walsh and Sarah Jones for meeting with us last week on the issue of the library's chapter 414 budget initiative for 2023. As you all may know, the library is pursuing a ballot vote for its budget for the first time, which allows taxpayers the chance to vote on how much of their tax dollars are allocated to the library services. As the last library in Dutchess County to not utilize a ballot budget initiative, this vote will secure our library's ability to confidently operate and meet the demand of the community for years to come. When we met with Brian and Sarah, we discussed the general timeline of the process, where the library board currently sits in that timeline, how this won't affect the town board's ability to stay within the tax cap, and how it may affect taxpayers. Brian and Sarah were given drafts of our FAQ page and taxpayer calculation sheet. We hope you will all get a chance to review them and give us your feedback and ask any questions you may have. I think Alexis has some copies. If you all need those copies, we can get those to you. Currently, we are still consulting with our lawyer and the Mid-Hudson Library System to solidify our information, our petition sheet and the petition strategy. Our April board meeting has been rescheduled to Saturday, April 29th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in the library, where we plan to finalize our next steps moving forward. We invite town board members and the general public to attend that meeting and utilize the public comment. Again, we appreciate you for meeting with us and lending us your time and ear on this issue. We also thank the town board for supporting the empowerment of Pine Plains voters by putting this question of the library budget and services directly in their hands to the voters. We look forward to continuing the work to meet our community's needs. We also wanted to thank you for arranging the cleaning schedule is working very well.
Okay.
And we really do appreciate the response to that.
Warren, did you have any questions in regards to that?
No, that's fine. I'm glad they have an attorney to advise them. It's it would be improper for me to, or the town clerk at this point, to advise them in advance of the propriety of the petition that they're filing. And it's by the way, it's under section 259 of the education.
For our library chapter.
Yeah, you're referring to the old chapter from when the law was first passed, but I assume you know it comes under section 259 of the education law. So when the petition is filed with the town clerk, we'll review it, and if it's in proper form and has the requisite amount of signatures, it can be placed, and it meets all the requirements of the law, and can then be placed on this ballot. Wouldn't affect the budget for this year. It would be for the following year if it passes. So on the November ballot.
Any other public comment? Okay, department reports, highway.
We got, the roads all swept, cleaned off, ready for our summer season. We've got some of the roads shoulders cut and cleaned off. We're waiting on the New York State budget to come through so we can find out what we got for chips, so we can go ahead and schedule for our road repaving and whatnot. We got all the guys shop are trained. We got all their courses in, including OSHA certifications are all done. We got one pipe on Sissing Avenue, over pipe done, and we're gonna do another one tomorrow. And we will getting that road done. That's what we've done so far this month, last month.
Which one are you doing tomorrow, Carl?
It's right at the end of Fairview.
Okay. So will that road be shut down in that area?
Yeah,
Minimal time, like the last one?
Yeah.
Okay. Building inspector.
Last month, Mark was a little more of what I would consider to be normal. Thank goodness, maybe it's a sign of something, at least for me. There was only 4 building permits in March, 18 total permits for the year. I wrote 18 certificate of occupancies and did 3 minutes with searches. I did some 21 site inspections last month. I'm currently working on 3 property maintenance issue with probably 1 more to be added soon.
Any questions for Drew?
We've had more comments on the house that was destroyed on Hoffman Road. Is there?
I'm going back and forth. There was a property owner, a neighbor, an adjoining neighbor in the back that touches, said that they emailed me and said they were interested in purchasing the property and cleaning it up. So I wrote him back and I said, is it okay if I forward that information to the owner? Well, not really the owner, but at least the person we deem is responsible for it. And he said, absolutely. So I did that. And then I checked with him about 10 days ago, said I never heard from him. So it took him a little while to get back to me. So today, actually, I contacted her and said, you know, the neighbor said that he never heard from you. Is there a problem? And she wrote back immediately and said, I never heard from him. Can you give me his contact information? Which I did today. So I'm kind of playing the middleman, but I'm happy to do that. And good things will come of it.
Right. Thank you for that.
Water engineer.
The average daily production for the month has increased to 65,000 gallons per day. Again, as you may recall, I've been trying to track down a leak. I was able to identify that the leak is located along Beach Road. However, I have not been able to pinpoint the exact location as of yet. I've reached out to rural water. They're going to try to come down within the next week or so to utilize their sounding equipment. Unfortunately, that particular section doesn't have a lot of hydrants or locations that we can tap onto in order to listen to the main to try to pinpoint that leak. But I'm hoping with rural water's capability, we're going to be able to find that. Water meters, 8 water meters, meter heads were replaced. 1 meter head or 1 meter was rebuilt and then reinstalled. On Saturday, April 8th, I responded to a homeowner that had damaged their service line while they were excavating for the installation of a new fence. Unfortunately, they never did a call before you did, where they started operating the backhoe. So their service was temporarily shut off until they could perform the repair. They repaired that earlier this week. I did inspect it prior to being it backfilled and released it to be able to be placed back into service. So since they didn't do a call before you dig, they will be charged a fee or a charge for a service call going out to have to shut off that water on the weekend. Received and processed 12 new water service applications for the Sissing Farms project. That'll be the last 12 for the buildings that are currently being constructed. Once they are installed, I'll inspect the meters and notify the building inspector that the water and sewer are all done. Right at this point, all the water services and sewer services to each one of the buildings have been installed, and I have inspected each one of those. So they continue to move along in this particular project. There were 5 utility markouts that were performed this past month, and the first quarter for billing for 2023 were taken at the end of March, and the water bills were sent out. And keep in mind, this will be the first quarter with the new rates. As of yet, I have not heard any complaints. I have not received any phone calls. We're still working with the company as far as the online payment. So hopefully we'll get that put in place for the second quarter. All right, for that going. Going back to the leak that has occurred. So this is the second leak that's occurred on that line down on Beach in the past year. We had a pretty significant one last year. I know the town board in the past has concentrated on trying to replace the water main along Route 82 South, along South Main Street. And it does need to be done at some point in the future, but this particular location still contains an old galvanized line. And my understanding and my belief is this is the last piece of galvanized line within the system that extends from Fabrello down to the end of Beach Road. So that's just past the basketball courts, just before you start making the turn down the hill towards the beach. So what I would like to do is to prepare some cost estimates or probable cost to replace that water main. And that way I'll present that to the town board for next month, and perhaps we can have a discussion if the town board would be interested and would consider funding that project to replace that.
Anything else?
Does it go through the field or does it stay underneath?
Go through the field. Yeah.
So it's actually not that long of a span, right?
I just took a very quick measurement. I have to go back. It's a little over 1,100 feet in length. Luckily, the majority of it is off of the roadway. Again, it's in the middle of the field, and luckily the fact that it's on a town road, the remaining portion, rather than being on a state highway. You remember the costs are astronomical on past projects that we've done on Route 199 because of the fact that they've been on the state highway. So again, I'll prepare the documentation. I'll present it to the board for consideration.
Ray, is there any kind of an easement across the field?
There's no documented. We would have to obtain one.
I mean, we have a user right to it, obviously, but
Correct. Yeah, for the existing.
or the existing.
Yeah, but it meanders its way, it starts in the field and it meanders its way into the wood line and then comes back out towards the beach. So we would have to obtain a formal easement as far as the construction. The only other item I have is regarding the engineering item. I prepared the draft of the RFP for the town hall facility, distributed out to the town board members. Not sure if the town board members had the opportunity of looking at it, recognizing that one of the council persons are not here tonight. I leave it up to the town board if you want to put that off to next month, or perhaps at a workshop to discuss that and the next steps that you may want to take on that.
Yeah, next month workshop.
Yeah, we'll do a town hall meeting.
Yes.
Town hall. Nice.
Is that it, Ray?
That was it.
Recreation.
Last week was the start of our youth baseball and softball season. That is ongoing. And we've got a ton of participants this year. Every year it seems to get more and more. We also have our second year of spring soccer. That is also starting up. That's run by one of the high school coaches that's volunteered their time to help us with that. And then I want to say that high school students have been super helpful with both programs and other rec projects that we have ongoing. They come down, run our concession stands. Some are actually on the varsity baseball team, coaching one of our youth baseball teams. So the kids in the community are paying it forward and helping out. So I just wanted to shout out to them for doing such a good job. That's pretty much all I got.
Did everybody receive the animal control report?
Yes.
Police department,
Here we had a total of 16 court hours, 113.5 of patrol, 34 of admin, 37 investigation. 37 school hours, 14 in investigation, 4 hours of training, 24 of details, 14 of vehicle/other, 14 complaints, 2 auto accidents, 36 vehicle and traffic warnings, 28 UTTs issued, 1 DWI, and 1 arrest. We had 31 scheduled shifts, and actually we completed 36. And now Sergeant Bellevue has more to add to it.
Okay, so in the past, we've been looking to hire more police officers for the town. We have 2 new police officers we're looking for approval to move forward with hiring. Both candidates have been thoroughly vetted. Brent Blaville is a prior DCSO deputy. He went through the academy with Officer Camber. Spent a year part-time with the sheriff's office. He moved forward to spending 3 years with the Beacon Police Department, brings a lot of experience to the department. And we have Jack Alpay. He's currently preparing for phase 2 of his academy, which he's been funding himself. He's looking for, he's looking for approval for sponsorship from our department, which is gained through employment. So we have the budget for these new officers as they're replacing 2 prior positions, one from Sergeant Lawson, the other one from Officer Hoiber. At this time, we're looking for approval for hiring and swearing in.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead with the hiring of the 2 new cops.
And second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Good.
New business,
I don't know if it's been under, but we're doing the workshop meeting the 15th for the town hall. I was just gonna bring up the town hall again.
yes.
So, perfect. So maybe. Yep.
We also have a open alternate position on this ZBA. There's been a posting on the town website for a couple weeks. And we received a letter from Christopher Wyatt. We got it all in the mailboxes. I'm looking for approval to appoint them as an alternate.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in
Either
favor?
or, man, whoever you like.
Aye. Anybody else have any new business? Other new business?
Is that the only building we got?
Yes.
Oh, well, new businesses. I guess I did forget to add the attachment, but the town bicentennial budget, if we could review that as soon as possible and try to get something back. So as soon as I know,
Attachment.
but I just want to throw it out there. Forgot the attachment, right? Forgot the attachment.
Old business. Anybody have anything they want to touch on? Okay. We get a motion to go in an executive session for camp personnel. And client attorney.
Make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
make a motion, we come out of executive session.
I'll second that.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to accept all the specialty counselors and group counselors at the wages provided by us for the 2023 Pine Plains Summer Camp employment?
I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
make them, you reading those names or? For the Pine Plains Bicentennial Committee, I make a motion that we help fund with the request of $5,000 for this year's festivities.
Out of our celebration line item.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.